Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
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 Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and you're watching actually another episode of Between the Ropes. This is a kind of a special edition. We didn't do it on Tuesday night, so we are doing it live for you tonight on Thursday night. We're going to bring the wrestling news for you right here. And I'm kind of glad that we waited until today because it kind of gave us a little bit more to talk about. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, my co-host for the evening. And just so you know, Christy, I don't know if you know your camera's off, but your camera is off. I just see a black screen right now.
What?
Yeah.
I can
All right.
see.
All right. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
I can see you guys and I can see myself.
Weird. I don't see Christy. Okay, it's fine. Anyway, I see you, Chris. I just don't see her. Okay, it's fine.
Oh.
All right. So, Mr. Crispy Bacon, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. A lot of wrestling news coming out today. Probably the last 12 hours. So, a lot to cover.
Ooh.
All right. And Christy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. There's just a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be interesting to talk about.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to talking about a whole bunch of it tonight.
Yes.
We know about all the news that came out, and I'll give you, I can give you my honest opinion about it actually when it comes to it. And she's back. I see her now. Okay, your camera just popped back up. I see you.
Thank goodness.
Okay.
Thank goodness that got taken care of.
So first of all, we know about the releases that happened today. And people had opinions about it. I was talking to some people that I know in another group, and look, all honesty, the names that they dropped today, really that they released, and it really wasn't even that big of a deal. It really wasn't, because, and I get that Dolph Ziggler's a former world champion. You know what? I completely understand that. I get it, okay? But you're looking at Dolph that hasn't really done anything, like as of late, and Dolph.
I think the last championship Ziggler held was the NXT title.
Yeah, and Dolph is pushing 40. Okay, he's 40. Then you have Shelton Benjamin, who hasn't done anything, and Shelton Benjamin is 40. Okay, so those are like the two that you look at and you're like, okay, Dolph was a main eventer at one point, but he was a mid-card guy. Now Shelton Benjamin was always a mid-card guy, and then the rest of them were kind of mid-card / jobbers. So really, when you look at that, they didn't really release like big names. So when it comes to,
they're a big name, but it's about what have you done for us lately.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's usually.
Are they really big names? Not really. They're really not.
Ziggler, I would say, is a bit
recognizable. They're recognizable names, but in the end, it doesn't mean nothing. I mean, it really, really doesn't. Emma wasn't there for very long, and they wanted to bring her back and try it out, and it didn't work.
She had more success and impact.
Well, yeah,
she did this time around in WWE.
Just think about this though. When she came back to WWE, when she made her debut again, it seemed like the crowd didn't even care.
No.
Like it wasn't even that big of a pop or nothing. It was like, oh, Emma.
Oh, she's back.
Okay,
I was surprised.
Big of a deal.
I was surprised, and then her match against Ronda Rousey. I actually thought, oh my god, are they going to let Emma win and pull the upset? Of course, no, they didn't.
No.
Top Dollar? Really? Who cares?
Top Dollar?
Honestly.
So who hotter than Top Dollar? A lotta. Yeah.
People were talking about how bad Hit Row was when they came
It
back.
wasn't the same.
With Swerve Strickland and now in AEW, Hit Row pretty much lost their way.
They did, and so
because without with them they were great. Without him, no, they couldn't hold up on their own.
Yeah, that's why it wasn't even really that big of a deal. And once Emma was released, you could kind of see that Madcap. I could see that coming. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they are together. They are a couple. So.
I could see that too. And then there was some NXT guys, and some females.
One of them was Quincy Elliott, I think.
Yeah,
was
one.
Mustafa Ali. And the crazy thing about Mustafa Ali, he was actually scheduled to go up against Dominic Mysterio for the North American title at No Mercy this Saturday. So I don't know. Either they're going to put Dragon Lee in there, or someone else is going to come in, or they're just going to cancel the match altogether.
Dragon Lee,
I think, is the most likely one. I think.
Yeah, but they're going to have that match on Raw.
Yeah, but Dragon Lee is supposed to be, I guess, getting the other match too at No Mercy also, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to have to make some decisions. They're really going to have to make some decisions regarding that. So.
But again, the releases really aren't that big of a deal.
No,
because it's not big names. It's not like Karrion Kross or Jimmy Uso or any of those people.
I wouldn't be surprised if Karrion Kross would be one of them.
If he leaves, then I think Scarlett goes with him. She'll just say, "Give me my release too, because I'm going with my husband."
Yeah,
because they are married in real life.
Yeah, but right now, it sounds like that's probably going to be just about it. Like if more were going to get released, I think you would have seen it trickle in more today. So I really and it's funny though too how when all these people get released, then all of a sudden you see posts, oh my gosh, look at everybody and I'm like, the list wasn't even that big.
Nope.
What, 9 to 11 people?
Yeah, maybe 9, 10, whatever. It wasn't even that big of a list. And the thing is, this is where we'll see what people will thrive and what people will kind of just kind of fade off in the sunset. We'll kind of see that. Like Dolph, I could see him maybe catching on and going to a place like Impact. Mustafa, I could see him going to a place like Impact also because he has friends in Impact.
Well, here's the funny thing about Ziggler. His brother Ryan is in AEW, so there's always that possibility. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see Emma going back to Impact, and if she goes to Impact, I'm pretty sure that Madcap is going to go there also.
I think so.
So it's, but
I think those folks have like 90-day no-compete clauses in their contract.
Everybody does.
Okay.
Everybody does.
So they have to wait. So all these people got released except for the NXTers have to wait 3 months, whereas the NXT people had to wait about 1 month, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But you can negotiate, right?
I think you can negotiate. You just can't. Yeah, you can't compete in a match.
Debatable. I
mean,
yeah. I really don't think you can until afterwards. I don't think you can.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna see how all this pans out. We're gonna see kind of where everybody goes, where everybody ends up. There's a few of them that I'm like, I don't even know where they're gonna end up.
Right.
You might see them on the indie scene, like
probably
like Commander Aziz. Really?
You could go to NWA. I don't know.
Maybe
possibility. I don't honestly know. I mean,
Aliyah wasn't that good.
Aaliyah, yeah. The only major accomplishments she had was the shortest victory ever against Natalya and winning a women's tag team championship with Raquel Rodriguez. That's it. Anything else, she was gone after that.
Yeah. And I mean, she might end up in Impact too. If she's friends with Emma, she might end up there too. So
maybe there are some I think will probably go to AEW. Some might end up competing for Ring of Honor, which is also owned by Tony Khan, who owns AEW.
Yeah,
so.
which
Because AEW's main roster is bloated, so they need to build up Ring of Honor anyway.
Which one of our first topics tonight, besides the cuts, I was actually talking a little bit about Bobby Fish and a comment that Bobby Fish made. It was kind of an interesting comment. So because he made this comment, I wanted to kind of talk about it, because they asked Bobby Fish, what's the big difference to him between WWE and AEW. And the comment that Bobby Fish made was, he's like, look, when I made the jump from WWE to AEW, he's like, at first, I learned that in AEW you kind of have that more of creative freedom a little bit there. And he said, look, he said, at first it's nice at first, but he said then after a while it kind of sucks. And so his comment was, the creative freedom that you kind of have in AEW, he doesn't necessarily like that, because he said a lot of the other guys there, like your John Moxleys and your Chris Jerichos and your Darbys, they're the ones who kind of get the big say in what their characters actually do. So
yeah, they get to they thrive under that creative freedom that they get to have.
But Bobby Fish, and I get where he's coming from though too, is to where you can't really have a company to where you can come in and just tell everyone, okay, you have creative freedom, you're going to kind of go out there and do what you want. You have to have some kind of structure. And this is exactly what Bobby Fish is trying to say. You have to have some kind of structure. You can't just tell people you're going to have creative freedom and do what you want. Because if you're telling people that, it would be like, your guys' boss or whatever telling you, oh, when you're here, you have the freedom to make decisions and kind of do whatever you want on your shift. When we know after a while, everyone would kind of start butting heads because they go, no, I want to do this. And you're like, no, I want to do that. And it kind of goes all these different directions because there's no clarity and there's nobody stepping in saying, no, that's not right or whatever. So I kind of get where Bobby Fish is coming from, because you must have structure to be able to make things work.
I think there was another former AEW wrestler she said the same thing, that she felt like there was no structure in AEW. So this was after she was let go.
Yeah, and this is the problem too. Like, look, I'm not saying that the people in AEW can't wrestle. I'm not saying that.
No.
And I'm not saying that, what AEW is doing right now is good or bad. I'm not saying that either way. But what I'm saying is, this kind of reminds you a little bit about WCW, because WCW was trying to do the same thing. They were trying to make it to where there was kind of creative freedom in a way, and we saw kind of how that worked out. It didn't work out well, and they ended up folding because there was just no structure. And the AEW, it's kind of like that. There's really not a lot of structure there.
Yeah.
And so
I also think, I was about to say, I think it's also because I think Tony Khan is basically just spreading himself too thin here. He needs a lot of help in a lot of areas besides, creative booking, that sort of thing. I think. Yeah. I don't know.
But he doesn't want to, is the thing.
He doesn't want to. He's one of those. He's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. He keeps going and going and going and going. And I worry for him because I fear he's going to burn himself out with so much responsibility on his shoulders. Also, in addition to him and his family owning the Jacksonville Jaguars and Fulham FC soccer team over in England. Yeah, having to do all that stuff. That's like, ugh.
He's putting his fingers in too many cookie jars, so to speak.
Yeah, he's got his hands in way too many cookie jars. Yes, he needs help in every way possible.
He does, and that's.
Will he be willing to do it? Is the big thing.
That, and if he doesn't do it, I don't think it ends up well. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I don't think things are going to end up.
I get it. Right.
So it's, so I completely understand where Bobby Fish is coming from on this one.
Yes.
And that, I don't know, you know, I know that people want that creative freedom. I get it. I do. Yeah. But
especially those who were in WWE for so long, they had their promos written and scripted for them. They didn't really have a say on how they wanted it done, how they wanted to say it, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So that was really the only reason why I wanted to bring up this topic, was to talk about the differences between them and kind of what some of the people are saying. And I don't know. There was something interesting that I was going to read to you tonight that came from Mason Mansoor afterwards. I don't know if you saw this. It was interesting. They wanted to talk a little bit about basically what they said was they wanted to air out some stuff about their backstage life in WWE. And so they said, they say there was once an incident that led to Matt Riddle slapping Gunther, and Gunther did nothing about it. And then
the first part I did.
Right, because Riddle is proven to be nothing more than trouble.
Oh, absolutely.
He seems to really love the taste of his foot in his mouth, and he seems to enjoy getting himself into bad situations.
Oh yeah,
I'm not surprised he would do that. I'm surprised Gunther didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised Gunther held it together like he did and didn't retaliate by chopping Matt Riddle so hard in the chest he just goes. Ugh.
Well, and I think that kind of shows you though too that maybe Gunther's trying to stay out of trouble. Like he doesn't want to go down that path to where they're like, oh, Matt Riddle slapped him, so Gunther was fighting back. But like Gunther was probably like, it's not even worth it. Like he slaps me, not even a big deal. I'll just let it go.
I just think Gunther was like, I am not gonna lower myself to this guy's level.
Exactly right. And so
he doesn't seem to be the type of person who would do that. If someone hits him, he's just like, whatever.
And Gunther's probably thinking, I will see you in the ring.
That's when we will get ready for me to chop you really hard in the ring.
And it also says Mansoor wasn't on NXT TV because he wasn't allowed to lose due to the Saudi deal. So that's why Mansoor was not on NXT.
Damn.
I remember he did win a couple matches, and Ali did too, in Saudi.
And LA Knight hated Mason Mansoor in the Eminem deal so much that he threatened to quit because he did not like that group whatsoever.
The Maximum Male Models.
He did not.
I don't blame him. It's not who LA Knight was. This is a guy who comes up with catchphrases. He says, "Let me talk to you, dummy." Yeah.
Exactly.
He does all this. That's who he is. That's who he's always been.
And I remember people were company he worked when he for. Came back.
Yeah. They came back and he says, "My name is Max Dupree." And I'm like, "No, you're not.
Max,
you liar." Max Dupree. And then I realized, Vince McMahon, what the hell did you just do to this guy? You basically stripped this guy of every ounce of star quality we know he has.
And this is Mesa. And this is and this is Mansoor.
And now the girl who's Maxine Dupree is hanging around with Chad Gable and Otis.
I remember.
That's funny.
I remember McAfee was so into that group.
Mm-hmm.
I know he was just going along with it, but it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They also said that Vince loved the Eminem and M gimmick and helped them rehearse every show. Every time they had it, he would help them rehearse every time. Mansoor said the Miz is the nicest guy backstage. They said Miz is such a genuine nice dude backstage. He's the nicest guy you will ever meet.
I've heard he's cool.
And Mace said it was Cody Rhodes. So
cool.
Mansoor said it was Miz. Mace said it was Cody.
I've heard nice things about Cody too. So there you go.
But they both agreed that Miz is a very well respected vet. Yeah. And so when somebody like Dragon Viper, talks about it and says, why isn't the Miz released? You know why he's not released.
Because he's a hard worker. He has a great reputation. He gets along well with everybody in the locker room. There's your reason why the Miz ain't going anywhere.
The Miz is absolutely not going anywhere. That dude works so hard. That dude is great on the mic. He works hard. He's a well respected vet backstage. Everybody loves Miz
as well. Yeah.
Miz. Everybody says Miz helps anybody he can. He's always he's always an open book, and so everyone's like, yeah, the Miz is such a great guy. And I'm like, okay, now you know why the Miz isn't going anywhere.
Exactly. He knows his character inside and out, and he plays his in-ring character to absolute perfection.
He does.
And there are people out there who love it. Not a fan of it myself, but you know what? I can't deny the fact the guy puts in the work.
He's talented. He is.
He is.
And people may not.
He's had this dream of being a wrestler, and he even talked about it when he first started on camera on The Real World New York. He talked about it.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do.
Winning on the challenge and he did it. That.
Yep. He hosted the challenge too on MTV.
Yeah, and it's okay not to like his character, but understand that what the guy means for WWE. He means a lot.
If he retired tomorrow, his legacy is set in stone. He can go backstage. He can be a producer. He can be a trainer. He can be anything he wants to be because he's that good at everything.
When you think about it, that dude was so reliable that when he tore his freaking ACL, instead of sitting at home doing nothing, he has the surgery and he says, push him around in a wheelchair. I'm still going to go through all. I'm still going to do
Wasn't
my
it
job.
John Morrison pushing him in the wheelchair?
Yes. But to me though, he gained so much respect. Just to me right there, that's gaining respect.
He could have stayed at home with Maurice and their kids. Instead, he's like, all right, I'm going to have the surgery. Wheel me out there.
Yeah.
I want to keep going.
I got a job to do. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do my job.
I'm working. I'm going to be making money. And I'm going to be, most importantly, helping people.
Right?
Well, I know that's how, I know it's different, but at one point Edge got hurt, so he did his own talk show. And I know that's not what The Miz did, but.
Well, The Miz has been doing Miz TV for a long time, and it's still a very popular segment every time it comes on.
Yeah.
When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut.
So they both admit that Retribution was basically just Antifa. Yeah. That's all it was just Antifa. They both said that Vince is actually a nice guy.
Really?
That's what they said. They both said Vince is.
There's some who say that, and then there's some who say he's just he's.
Well, the ones that say otherwise are probably the ones that got the raw end of the stick.
Yeah, and just had bad experiences with. Yeah,
it's just a bad experience.
So they also said Seth doesn't hang out with any other talent.
Probably the only talent he hangs out with is Becky. That's it.
Yeah, they said
that's his wife. That's his wife. That's the mother of his kid.
Yeah.
Right, but I could see that, yeah.
Gargano.
I've heard Rollins is definitely has always been someone who likes to keep to himself.
Which is okay.
I've heard, I mean, he doesn't let a lot of people in, see who he really is. Except Becky, that's it. As far as I know.
Gargano, they said, is a funny dude.
Yeah,
I believe it.
They said Kevin Owens is cool. He's a great guy.
I believe it. I believe it.
They said Sammy's kind of annoying, but he's harmless. That's
like exactly a bug. He's harmless.
I mean, harmless. Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's annoying, but don't worry about it. He won't hurt you.
He's like a fly. He's cool. Annoying, but he's okay.
Like a fly. He's like an annoying gnat lurking around. You can't get rid of him, but he won't hurt you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. He's kind of annoying, but he's harmless. You know.
Oh Lord.
They said Jeff Jarrett was the nicest legend in WWE.
I'm sure some folks in AEW will probably say the same thing about him as well. It's like, yeah, he's cool.
They said Vince was incredibly nice to them. Would joke around during the pre-tapes. I could see that though, you know, because if he likes a character, I'm sure he's going to joke around or whatever.
Probably.
AJ Styles is really cool and only really talks about video games and Georgia football.
Understandable. He's from he's from Georgia, so of course he's gonna love his Georgia Bulldogs. Why not? Right. Some of the Georgia Bulldogs with the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
Well, if we ever talk to him, we can mention the Georgia Bulldogs again.
Right? Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia Bulldogs. Yep. If you meet him, simply talk about video games and Georgia Bulldogs, and you'll hit it off with AJ Styles. You have it right there. You can hit it off with AJ Styles.
Get his attention right there.
First 2 questions done. All right.
I think I should reach out.
Have you ever played Super Mario Brothers? And what do you think of The Legend of Zelda?
Right. I think C2C should reach out to AJ Styles and be like, hey, when you come and do an interview on C2C, we want to talk to you about video games and Georgia football.
Georgia football. Who is the greatest quarterback to ever come out of the University of Georgia?
We want to talk to you about it. Yeah. And Matthew Stafford is one of them. All right. So there you go. All right.
Here we go.
They said that Jason Jordan is their favorite agent.
Ooh. Nice.
I could see that. Michael Cole is a pro and speaks with talents and takes note as basically what they want him to get over, like what they're wanting him to say that's going to help put them over, and that's what.
Oh, cool.
And so I guess he goes and talks to each of them individually and says, what would you like me to say?
Yeah. I've heard a good number of people say Michael Cole is awesome. I mean,
right? Yeah. He looks like a great guy.
And I quote.
Yeah. I mean, he's been.
And I quote. And I quote.
If we ever interviewed him, I'd probably ask him, who is your favorite person to work with on commentary? And if he said Pat McAfee, I'd be like,
and I quote.
And I quote.
Yeah. I think his 2 would be Pat McAfee and Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I think with McAfee, Cole had way more fun. It looked like he was having a blast.
Let's see. What else did Mason Mansour say? And they quote. Okay. And I quote right here. Okay. What else? What else they said was, they said Vince thought that Mansour was fat, so he got into shape.
Oh God.
I guess that's what he said.
That's what he said. Oh my Lord.
They almost lost their Twitch because Shayna choked out Mansour on a live stream. so they almost lost their Twitch.
God damn. I know Twitch has some strict rules, but oh my God. Choke out the streamer and you lose your channel.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. I would not expect that.
I can't believe it. Neither would I.
When I read that, I'm like, that's awesome. They said both Usos are really cool dudes. And they also said that Chad and Otis are super nice. And huh?
I was gonna ask if they say anything about Roman Reigns.
No, that was all they said right there. They said they just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what went on backstage, but yeah, so they named the people who were cool, you know, or whatever, and yeah, just so it seemed like they were kind of in good spirits, you know, when they left. It seemed like they were on good terms with everybody, so
no hard feelings.
So there was no hard feelings there.
Nope.
That's good.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, and I know there was some people, actually there was a lot of people commenting on the Gunther and Riddle thing, and they were saying, hey, good on Gunther for keeping his composure and not even being like whatever, you know, and just kind of brushing it off.
You're probably just giving that Gunther look or something like that. Like, you did that.
Oh, with everybody saying Will Poston, yeah, absolutely. We're just talking about random things that Mesa Mansoor were saying upon their release and who they thought were cool backstage, and if there was any issues backstage, but it sounds like there wasn't. So I think the biggest one that kind of surprised me with that takeaway was that Seth Rollins did not hang out with other talent. I guess that was like the biggest one that actually surprised me, that Rollins is kind of a loner besides Becky.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I can kind of see it, but I can understand why.
What you can understand? How can you understand?
Well, I mean, that you would say that, but I can kind of see how he could be a loner, just maybe by his personality. I'm not sure.
Probably, yeah, it's possible.
It's Seth freaking Rollins, bro. It's Seth freaking Rollins. He does what he wants. Now, because of the statement that they said about AJ Styles, it makes me want to meet him more. So that's freaking cool.
They don't want none.
I just think it's cool. Like,
it is cool.
I'm not much of a video game guy.
Right.
But that's something that AJ Styles likes. And so if I ever ran into AJ, video games and Georgia football.
Do you play WWE 2K?
2K23.
Any of them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
Any of them.
I do, and I'm sure he probably does. But Will saying I was super okay with everyone being cut today, but Dolph. And I get the thing about Dolph. You know, he's been there for a long time. He's kind of that backstage and things like that. I get it, but still, they weren't doing anything with them. So give them the chance to go out and do something somewhere to where maybe he can make a difference and help out people elsewhere. So going on to our next one, I kind of want to talk about Jade a little bit. Oh, so Will saying my buddy met
Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah, met Seth freaking Rollins at SummerSlam in Detroit. Said he wasn't too impressed.
Loner.
Maybe not. I mean, if you like check out some of the interviews, have either of you watched Swerved? WWE
Not really.
Swerved?
I saw one interview Rollins did, and the interviewer asked him about, because he's a big heavy metal music fan, asked him about music, and Rollins would not shut up about certain metal artists that he loves.
Well, no, I'm talking about Swerved. It was like
Swerve. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I might have watched it a little bit, but I was like, this just reminds me too much of Punk'd.
He was also he also appeared on Tough Enough, also to kind of come in and work with the newbies, and he kind of did some interviews on there too, and just kind of his demeanor on there. Maybe it kind of brought up some bad vibes for people with the demeanor, but
maybe
I still think he's a phenomenal talent. So I really do. I think he's great in the ring. I think he's one of the best in the world at what he does. So, and Will saying, I just appreciate Seth because he's a miserable Bears fan like David, right? And he posts about that all the time. He always
three,
says,
three little words. I hate football.
Yeah, he says it all the time. I hate
the time.
football.
I have quoted it. I have used that phrase a couple of times myself. To quote Seth Rollins, I hate football.
Right, I hate football. So,
football.
going to our next one, we're talking about how Jade Cargill is coming to WWE. She's going to the Performance Center. She was actually there. She was been there this past week, and she's kind of been training there. And I think people are surprised maybe that she's at the Performance Center. I'm not really. Like a lot of times when people sign there, they go to the Performance Center to kind of work out. And I think she's good, but I think she needs a little bit of fine tuning. And so I think that's why she's really going to the Performance Center to kind of get that fine tuning that she actually needs. Other than that, I think she'll be a great signing. She just needs a little bit more work.
Yeah.
So, Chris, were you kind of surprised that Jade left AEW and went to WWE?
I was. It seemed like everything was going well for her in AEW. I know her contract was ending or had ended, and there's been a lot of reports that before that she could make the jump to WWE.
Yeah.
It just depends on how that goes. I don't know if it'll work out initially.
We'll see what happens.
Oh,
yeah.
And Will, yes, I would love that. Please put her with Bobby, Montez, and Angelo, and have Hurt Business.
New version of the Hurt Business.
That would be cool, but you also have Bianca too that you could technically put. You could technically put Bianca.
Yeah.
You definitely could put her in that group because of Montez Ford, because she's with Montez. So
she and Montez are actually married.
Yeah, I could see her going in that group too, but I think Jade might be a good fit in that too. So Will, I definitely do agree with that one too. So Christy, were you kind of surprised that Jade made that whole switch?
A little bit, because I thought in AEW the next goal for her was going to be the AEW Women's title, world title, going up against some of the top talent like Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Hikaru Shida, the current women's champion Saraya. But maybe I'm guessing Jade figured, you know what, my time here is done. Time for me to move on to bigger and better things. And I just hope they don't change Jade up too much, because she had such a good in-ring character in AEW, and she's so good as that heel character. She's so good at it.
Well,
someone who had no wrestling experience when she started.
I mean, the women's division in WWE it's better than AEW.
Better, yeah.
It's better.
Right now it is a little. I mean, the WWE women's division is right now a little thin, because you do have some women wrestlers out due to injury. We've got a couple of them who are expecting babies and they're on maternity leave. So it needs as much help as it can get. And there are NXT women who are not ready to move up to the main roster yet.
No, but I think there are people, like when I look at Jade, there are people on the main roster on the women's side that I like, okay, you could put Jade against Rhea. You could put Jade against Charlotte. You could put Jade against Bianca. Jade against Bailey. Like I feel like there's so many women's wrestlers that I feel like you could put Jade against, and it would actually make it a good match, just with that little bit of fine tuning, like I was saying, just a little bit of fine tuning. And I think after that, I think she'll be great.
Yeah.
All right, so going on to our next one. So this was kind of interesting to me. Speaking of Seth Rollins, this is kind of one of the topic for Seth Rollins that kind of surprised me in a way too. So Seth Rollins came out and said one of his dream opponents for the World Heavyweight Championship, if he could put the World Heavyweight Championship on the line against anybody, he actually chose Ricochet.
Oh.
That is interesting.
I mean, Ricochet is crazy talented, and I think he's incredible. He's so underutilized. It's terrible.
Well, no, he's not really underutilized because he gets a lot of TV time. He does. He gets a lot of TV time. There's certain things about Ricochet that you can look at that you can say, okay, he's just not a main eventer, I think is really what it is. Like he's not really that good on the mic. I really think that's kind of his biggest thing is he's not great on the mic. He's talented in the ring. I just think he has to find that personality. He has to find that charisma. If he does that, I do think at some point he could get a main event push. He's been putting in a lot of work. He works hard. That's exactly what Seth is saying. He puts in a lot of work. He works hard. And Seth said he deserves it. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I just don't know if he's at that main event level yet. And so, Chris, you were saying that kind of surprises you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Ricochet is really good. I think it'd be a good matchup. At times, it looked like his matches seemed to be a main event kind of match, but I do agree he does need to work on his mic skills, and I think at some point he'll get better.
Yeah.
All right, Christy, were you surprised about that too?
I was a little bit, but like Chris said, if Ricochet works on his mic skills and finds that charisma, then I think that'll be what puts him over the top.
All right, so I think it would be a good match just based off of talent level.
Yeah,
I think
they're both good, so good.
Yeah. So based off of that, yes, but like I was saying before, I just don't think personality-wise and charisma, it's just not there yet. So our next one is, we know that, and I don't know if you read about this or not, but WWE is actually talking about taking NXT and actually moving it to Wednesday nights. So,
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they are considering moving it. And so Will saying that Rick strikes me as a non-controversial Jeff Hardy, the spot wrestler with below average mic skills but no personal issues. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, everyone, those I've talked to on social media call him a lucky bastard because he's engaged to marry ring announcer Samantha Irvin, who, by the way, great ring, not only beautiful but fantastic ring announcer.
Samantha Irvin is amazing.
She is incredible. Love her.
The way that she introduces people is incredible.
Yes, it's so good.
She brings personality to everybody.
She does. Yeah. You hear Lillian Garcia, another great female ring announcer. She was amazing. And I liked her.
But Samantha
is like at another level.
She's phenomenal. The way that she changes her pitch up and down with Gunther and Chelsea Green. Yeah. Yep. It's
Cody Rhodes.
but
so
going on to NXT and talking about potentially taking the NXT off Tuesday nights and change it to Wednesday. And Will, I really wanted to say that. I really wanted to say
she's goated.
I do feel like she's right there. Like she definitely is right there. I really, really do.
Up there with the legendary ring announcers like Tony Chimmel and various others.
Yeah, but none of them could do what she does.
No, none of them could do what she does.
So they should hold on to her for a long
yes.
time.
Hold on to her real tight here.
A very long time. Hold on to her. So NXT going from Tuesday to Wednesday. This is something they've been talking about doing because they're trying to make NXT its own brand. And for some reason they don't like Tuesdays. I'm not quite sure why. They never really mentioned why they don't like the Tuesday aspect. But they like it. But so they want to put it on Wednesday. that would be interesting to see because we
Right.
know on Wednesday it's also Dynamite is on Wednesday.
Here's my hoodie.
So I'm not sure why Wednesday, but that's what they want. And so
that's what they want.
So Chris, does that surprise you a little bit that they want to take NXT off of Tuesday and change it to Wednesday?
I'm a little surprised. I think originally it was on like a Thursday, and then they moved it from, I can't remember what network. I think USA to like the WWE network, and then back to USA. Yep. Then they made it live. Then they made it 2 hours, and then
they put it on Wednesdays against Dynamite.
Yeah, they've succeeded against that, I think, if I remember right.
AEW mainly kicked NXT's butts on Wednesday nights with higher viewership than NXT.
Well,
I think the only time NXT ever got any majorly high viewership was their last official episode on Wednesdays before they moved to Tuesdays.
Yeah, and that was when they had NXT as a more of the independent part now. Like it was the developmental. They were trying to at the time NXT was a developmental. But now they're not. Now they're actually making it its own brand. So they're actually taking veterans and putting them on NXT and being like, "Hey, we can make NXT better by taking veterans and putting them in there." And,
I can see.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say I could see whenever the next draft is, you have a somewhat of a split or a divide of veterans on NXT, Raw, SmackDown, along with the newer talent.
Yeah, but you could clearly see, like, I don't know if you saw the viewership from the last NXT, but that was insane. They got when it was Becky Lynch in the main event, and this is why I'm telling you, this is why they were sending the veterans to NXT.
Yeah,
to get the viewerships. When they had that women's championship match and they put the belt on Becky, NXT had like 876,000 viewers, and that's was
pretty good.
And that was something that they don't normally hit, but they hit it. It was their highest viewership, and it's simply because of what they're doing. And so I think that's why they're like, hey. Now, if we move it to Wednesday, it doesn't matter if Dynamite's there because of how we're doing it now with veterans and everything else. It definitely is an interesting move, though.
It is.
I kind of like the idea of it being on Tuesday because you don't really have to choose then. Like you can watch Raw Monday, NXT Tuesday, Dynamite Wednesday.
Impact on Thursday.
Impact on Thursday. Then you have SmackDown Friday. Then Collision on Saturday.
Yep.
So, and I forgot about Rampage on Friday, but nobody cares about Rampage.
No, not really. And the thing about with NXT being on Tuesdays, you don't have to, like Mondays, especially during football season, you don't have to debate whether do I watch Monday Night Football or do I watch or do you watch Monday Night Football or Monday Night Raw?
Yeah. All right.
That's always a dilemma.
That is always a dilemma. And I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how. I think WWE has never really truly figured out a way to kind of deal with that issue.
Well, they only have to deal with it for a certain amount of time. It's not like they have to deal with it year round. It's just that.
No, they only have to do it like September to January, pretty much. But we know Monday Night Football is always going to get the higher ratings, the higher viewership because it's professional football. It's the NFL, and Monday Night Football has been around since the 70s, so it's been a mainstay for a long, long time.
I mean, to counteract that, you definitely could move it back more, like during during the NFL year, you could be like, we'll go back 3 hours, for after the game is over, we'll go back 3 hours and we'll start it then. Because where I'm at, because of YouTube TV and everything. So I don't get Raw till after the Monday night game.
Okay.
So so here, Monday Night Football where I'm at would start at like 5:20.
Yeah.
Well, Raw here doesn't start till 8. So, so I don't actually get it till 8 p.m. So basically, by the time the Monday night game is over, Raw's just coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Like you get, it's like in the middle of Raw and football. Both start at 7.
Yeah, for me it's like 6 o'clock. Monday Night Raw starts at about 6:20. That's when whatever Monday Night Football game starts on ESPN.
Yeah.
So or an ABC. So
that's why I'm saying I'm okay with it because I can both. One goes off, the other one comes on. So that's why I'm okay with it. Not a big deal to me. All right, so going into our final topic, actually pretty excited on this one. Randy Orton has been at the Performance Center. They said he's been there for about 3 weeks now, and he's been getting amped up. He's been getting ready for his comeback again, and I'm kind of excited about that. It's going to be exciting.
It's finally happening.
Yeah, it's finally happening. He's finally coming back. Now, did you see the video to where he told every like all the fans? He's like, "Shh."
I think I have seen that. Someone filming him, and he just went like this.
Yeah, he was telling everyone.
Very, very quiet.
Be quiet, guys. Be quiet, guys. Don't tell everyone that
it's a surprise.
Ooh.
But with social media now, it's not gonna be a surprise.
No, if someone's gonna have a camera and be like, "Oh my god, it's Randy Orton."
Everybody's in the media, not really, but everybody seems to be like it.
Right. Breaking news: Randy Orton seen today at the Performance Center.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything you see now is going to be in the media, and people are going to see it. You really can't hide it much now.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean,
there's spies everywhere.
Like, well, think about this. Think about when Cody re-signed with WWE, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there was no social media, at all, and the rumors were not spoiled at that point, and saying that that people knew that Cody Rhodes was coming back, imagine being at WrestleMania, watching WrestleMania,
the
pop,
and hearing wrestling has more than one. Yeah. All of a sudden, that place and everybody would erupt. And why? Because nobody would see it coming. Nobody would know.
It'd be like the Hardys coming back at that one WrestleMania. I don't think no one.
WrestleMania. I think 33 in Orlando. The New Day going out, and then you hear the music and the place just completely blew up.
I think we need one more competitor, one more team.
More, and then you hear him argue.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general, like if there wasn't social media, a lot of these surprises would actually be surprises. Like people would actually be like, "Oh my God, they're back," and like not knowing that they're coming back.
Yeah. Oh my God, Cody Rhodes is back! Ah! Like that.
Now, The Rock actually returning at Smack, that was kind of a surprise.
No, I saw a report beforehand that he was with Pat, and that he was planning on being there, but we know with The Rock that's not always true. But there's a report that was out.
I think he was on ESPN College Game Day, I think, before the Colorado State football game.
Yeah, and then he did Pat's show after that.
And then he did the Pat McAfee show, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he said some things that kind of got people excited, I guess.
And it might happen.
It might happen. What happens to Cody? That's the big issue.
Triple threat.
Cody Rhodes.
That's a rumor.
That is a rumor. And ironically, I think it was Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio on the Sirius satellite radio. He went off. He was pissed.
Yeah, well,
he went right after The Rock. I mean, he made his feelings very, very clear on this. He was not happy.
All right. Well, we're at that point now, and guys, it's been another great show. It was another fun show. We got to talk about releases and some other various topics that were kind of spreading around there. So with that, we kind of give our final thoughts here. So, Mr. Crispy Bacon, what is your final thoughts for the evening?
Thanks everyone for watching.
It doesn't matter what you think. Okay. All right. So
I should have known.
Okay.
But yeah, we're bros tomorrow, and then on deck Saturday morning, tailgate on Sunday. Great shows coming to C2C, and just stay tuned.
All right, and Christy.
Well, a great show tonight, and talking about everything going on, and I can't wait for this coming Tuesday when we get to talk about this all over again. Talk about wrestling.
Yeah, and again, we definitely want to thank everybody for watching. There is some news that actually came out here really quick. It was kind of some breaking news that's kind of been going around. You may have seen it and you may have not, but I wanted to bring this up really quick for anybody who's watching or cares or whatever. So Vince McMahon may be forced to step down as TKO chairman due to federal government investigations. So he may be forced to step down, and if they do find these charges, he will not be allowed to serve as any chairman of a board or anything. So in that way he will actually indeed be forced out.
He'll be fired.
Probably for good. That you're fired.
Yeah.
So, only this time it's him getting fired, and it's gonna be something.
So all right. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will catch you next week for another episode of Between the Ropes. So keep us in your thoughts. Thank you very much and have a great night.
Good night.